Okay, I think we're live. Everybody is there, live and kicking. Okay, let's move my phone a little bit. Alrighty. We're not gonna dive into the content immediately. We're gonna wait for at least one person to join. Currently airing live shows. Alrighty, let's see, what do we got? Okay, stream looks like it's functioning. Let's see if we get some people in the chat and let me know if you can actually hear me. Otherwise, it's pointless. If I am not able to be heard, then we will not be able to continue. Stream ended. No. Stream should not be ended. Why are you ended? Live, this one. Show me. I did not end the stream. Oh, here we go. Yay! Okay, I see me. Me. Alrighty. Okay, looks like it's now working. Okay, we're just going to chill out for a little bit. Wait for some people to join. Hopefully, we can get some people today. We had some people yesterday, but we need a few million more because people need help. And no one seems to be doing anything about the things that we can easily change tomorrow. We don't have to suffer so much. It's a choice. It really is. Tomorrow we could change our behavior and save 100,000 lives a day. We could do that. We could change right now. In this moment, watching this video, you can decide that a better world is possible. And we can actually live in paradise. Because the world we've got right now, I mean, just look at the amount of pain that you see every day. The amount that you experience, potentially. 170,000 people die every day. And more than half of them don't need to leave just yet. They could stay a bit longer. But because they're stuck in patterns that they've been programmed with from childhood, they can't break free from what is taking their lives. And I can't sit here and watch that happen without trying to help. So this BPM lifestyle is about trying to help those people, the people that need it the most, the ones that are homeless, the ones that are broke, the ones that are sick with chronic illness, the ones that are mentally unstable right now and need to find balance in their lives. But these people may not have thousands of pounds to spend on courses and coaching and other ways of improving their health. They may be broke. So this summit is designed for those type of people. The people who really need the most help, because maybe no one else, maybe you've got no one else. Maybe you're like I was when I was younger. Nobody was there for me. The doctors couldn't help me. I'm going to go into a little bit of this story today to set the scene of why I built the BPM lifestyle over the last 35 years. This is not something I just made up yesterday. This has been an ongoing project for 35 years. And I'll explain why I started it in a little while. So it looks like YouTube is okay for now. So, fingers crossed we'll get at least a few people join this time. And the more people that join, the more people I can help, and the more people can then help others. Because at the moment, the world's falling apart. We need to actually start taking care of our only home. This is the only planet we have. This is it. If we kill it, we are exterminated as well. And the way we are going at the moment, it doesn't look too favorable. But we can change tomorrow. Literally, tomorrow. You can wake up tomorrow and say, I'm going to follow the BPM lifestyle, and I'm going to take care of myself and the environment and my mind and my body and the people around me. You can make a promise to yourself that you're going to do the best you can with what you have to try and live the best life you can for the time you have. That's all it is. Just try to live the best life possible for the time that you're here. Surely that's the dream of everyone, isn't it? To live an amazing life where you live your dreams, everything you want, you have. All the dreams that you conceive, you build. Why can't that be the world for everyone? Why does it have to be only a few thousand billionaires own everything and everyone else struggles for food? How is that the world that we live in right now? And people just accept it. They were just like, yeah, let's just give all our money to the billionaires and we'll be in poverty and suffer every single day. Well, that's what we've done to this planet. Or that's what's been done to us by a small number of people. But there's billions of us. There's billions of people. And there's a few thousand billionaires. We need to switch the game a little bit and start taking care of ourselves, not making rich people even more rich. This is madness. Why are you doing it? We need to wake up to what we're doing to ourselves. We need to wake up to what we're doing to each other. And we need to wake up to what we're doing to the planet. Because there's too many people now to be fighting over silly, stupid things like who has the most powerful imaginary friend. This is no reason to kill people. This is crazy. It's absolutely mind-blowing how people are so hateful of each other because they're a different shape, or they have a different language, or a different accent, or they wear glasses, or some clothes someone doesn't like, or they're like a football team that the other person doesn't like, so they have to hate each other. What is it with humans having to hate everything that's not them? It makes no sense. And if we don't actually start to wake up and realize how we treat each other and ourselves, we're doomed as a species. The BPM lifestyle applies to all life forms. It applies to viruses, bacteria, all the way up to living planetary systems. The Earth is relying on the BPM system in order for it to work. And humans think they can violate the laws of nature and not suffer consequences. And we're suffering a lot. Billions of people right now, billions, have chronic illnesses. And that's sad. It's sad to watch someone die from a disease. It's not, I watched my dad die from cancer. That was very unpleasant. And to see other people dying so young, in their 30s, in their 40s. We should be living till our 80s and 90s easily by now with the technology and the science that we have. But people don't believe in science. They believe in history. Humans have always done it this way. So therefore, that's the way we should always do it, even though it's killing us. Even though 170,000 people die every single day. And half of them can easily be prevented. But because we have to keep the traditions, we have to keep the old systems, we have to follow these ridiculous rules that were made thousands of years ago that make absolutely no sense scientifically, but we still are forced to follow them through tradition. And this leads to 40 million people dying every year from preventable diseases. Everyone's going to die eventually, but I'd like to live a long, happy, healthy life. I want to be able to enjoy my day. I don't want to be suffering with pain all the time. How are we doing for time? We've got 3 minutes. So this is just the intro. This isn't the actual summit right now because we're waiting to see if we get any more people join. If we don't, then this is all going to be on the replay anyway, so you can enjoy the journey that we're about to go on. It's not particularly nice, the journey we're going to go on today. But it has a happy ending. But the beginning is not so nice. And if you're easily triggered by anything related to severe mental health issues, then this video is designed to help you as much as it is to help me by talking about what happened. Because we have a lot of problems in this world. We have a lot of things we can't control. There's things that we have absolutely no control over whatsoever. And we have to just accept those things in some cases. But there's so much we can control that if we take back that power that we've had for millions of years, that we've decided to forget as a culture in the last 50 years or so, we can bring back a place of the Garden of Eden. We could live in the most amazing paradise, but we choose to not do that. We choose to hate each other, and the rich people just enslave everybody to control them. This is not the world I want to be in. I want to have freedom to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, with who I want to do it with, without somebody else telling me that my life is invalid, that I'm not allowed to have this experience that I'm having because they don't agree with it. Their religion says that I'm not allowed to do this, so I can't do it. But I'm not their religion. So why do they get to tell me how I live? But all my life, since a tiny baby up till now, still people are trying to push their beliefs onto me. I'm not trying to push anything onto anyone. I'm just explaining the laws of the universe to people through the BPM system, which applies to all life forms. That if you balance these systems, life can thrive in a much, much easier way. And if you want to have a happy, healthy life, you have one body to look after. And if you don't look after it, it will eventually get sick and die. And I don't want to die prematurely. I would like to live happily into my old age, still with my bodily functions active. But unfortunately, I have wonky genetics, which we'll talk about in a minute. We have a new person joining. Hello, who's number 2? Say hi in the chat, please, so I know you're alive and human, because I have to know that there's someone there listening. So let's see if we can get a few more before I start the main event. This is just a warm-up. We're just going to talk a little bit today about plants, magical plants. I have to be very careful what I say because I'm currently on a social media platform and the truth is not allowed on these platforms. So I will have to talk in code. If you want to actually know the real information, then you have to go to bpmlifestyle.com/summit and join the course, because I can't say what I need to say on YouTube. So if you want to actually get the real information that I'm going to hint at and kind of guide towards, then you have to go to the course. But I can't actually say what I want to say on here, just to be clear. So we have another viewer. Welcome. I've got a few more people that say they're coming, so we'll give it another minute or two. We're just going to quickly do a little recap over yesterday. We were talking about grounding and breath work, because two of the most fundamental things that your body needs are electrons and oxygen. And so many people don't even take care of those two most fundamental needs. Electrons you get from walking barefoot outside, and oxygen you get from breath work. But we need to consciously do more breath work, especially, if you want to try to control focus and anxiety and energy levels. You can do all of this through different types of breath work, and it's free and available to anyone, anywhere, any place, anytime. So it's not something that is only for the elite richest people who can afford this treatment. No, anyone can do it anywhere. So we need to find a way to integrate going barefoot in nature somewhere, or touch a tree if you won't walk barefoot. Either way, you need to touch nature and do some breath work to energize or calm or go into altered states of consciousness. There's many things that breath work can enable you to do, and it's free, so why not give it a go? Today we're going to talk a little bit more about chemistry of you. You are an amazing bag of chemicals that are just bumping into each other, and when they bump into each other, they either do something or they don't. And that's the miracle of biochemistry. It's my number one favorite thing. I like science, but the best part for me is the chemistry of life. I want to understand how nature works, how the planet works, how the universe works, how the atoms work. I need to know everything. I need to know the structure of reality to its finest detail, to its greatest magnificence. I need to know how this works. And I've studied it all my life because it's something that is my passion. It's not something that I do because I want to have it as a job. Some people misunderstand when I say I'm a scientist. They think I need to be working in some laboratory. That's not what a scientist is. A scientist is someone who conceives of ways of interacting with nature to figure out how nature works. You interact with the world and you figure out through experimentation how things function. And by doing that, we learn more about physical reality. And the human body is the most advanced organic computer in the universe. We don't know officially of any life forms more advanced than humans. So, you need to take care of this amazing engineered biosuit. We have a suit that we can use to interact with this planet. It's so amazingly tuned to its environment that when you slightly push that alignment out of balance, disease has a higher probability of occurring. You can never avoid all disease. Eventually we're all going to get something, but the idea is to try to push that boundary as far away as possible. Okay, I may get heart disease at some point in my life, but not yet. Not in my 40s. Give me a few more years before that comes, because I've already got enough issues with my health anyway. So I just wanted to tell you the history a little bit of where this whole BPM lifestyle started. It goes back a long time, back into 1990. I was at school and people weren't very friendly towards me, to put it bluntly. They were rather violent, aggressive and hateful of everything that I did or was or anything, literally everything about me they hated. And I was physically assaulted quite regularly. But one day there was an assault which left a permanent injury that lasted 25 years of pain. And 25 years of pain is enough for anyone to have to deal with. But when you can't get anyone to help you, doctors don't know what to do. The surgeries, the pills, nothing helps, nothing changes. It just gets worse. So what do you do in that situation when you're 10 years old, you've only got your family, your school environment, a few friends, maybe some distant relatives, and your doctors. And when no one can help you, what do? I tell you what you do. You suffer a lot of pain, a hell of a lot of pain. Because it's not just the physical pain at that point. It's the physical pain plus the emotional pain of being tortured every day by every single person in the school that you're in. And then on top of that, the existential pain of understanding that this condition is for life. I'm 10 years old and I'm going to have to deal with this every day until I die. That is not a fun thing to tell a kid. So, I went on a mission to learn science as much as I could to understand my body, to understand the universe, and to find a way to live without the pain. And nothing fucking worked. For years. For 25 years, it didn't work. I had found ways that managed things a little bit better. But it wasn't until what I did in this video we're going to talk about today that my life actually changed. So, when I get to 14, I was starting to get a bit chubby. By the time I got to 15, I was Chunk from Goonies is what I was quite often called at school. And that was not a good thing to be. You couldn't be fat and weird. It was bad enough being the weird kid who liked science, but now I'm the weird kid who likes science and the fat kid. And it was just my whole life from the minute I got out of bed to the time I got home from school was just torture. And having to deal with that every single day without any hope that it's ever going to change led to me not wanting to be on this planet anymore. And that's no place for any kid to be. For a kid to contemplate that is not... It's not acceptable that anyone has to feel that hopeless. So I make these videos for him, for that 15-year-old boy who no one helped. And if you're struggling right now, this is for you, to help you right now and teach you everything I've learned in 35 years of dealing with people and pain that will save you having to figure it out on your own. Because nobody should ever be alone to figure these things out. And when the doctors don't have any answers, what else do? You study biochemistry at the highest level you can. I studied chemistry, physics, biology, and maths at GCSEs, then did chemistry and advanced mathematics in America for a year, before I came back to do my A-levels in chemistry, physics, biology, and maths. I then did S-level chemistry, step-level chemistry, and then studied chemistry and medicinal biology at Imperial College London, because I needed to know how the body worked. I needed to understand everything I could to fix my body, because I didn't want to be in pain. That was my mission. I wanted to find a way to heal myself and my friends and family so that we wouldn't have to die in horrible ways. And while I was at university, I discovered that there is no money in curing any disease. So my mission was kind of pointless, because a patient cured is a customer lost. And when you understand that basic principle of pharmacology, the chance of them finding a cure are pretty slim. They might possibly have a few ways to make your life better, but are they going to actually reverse your disease? Almost likely that's not going to happen. They like to say, oh, these things are chronic and incurable. That's not true. Just because they don't have a pill to give you to cure you does not mean that you can't be helped. You can, if you balance the BPM system. If you haven't seen the video from yesterday, go back and see that one where I talk about what the BPM system is. The biochemical, physical, mental environments need to be balanced with each other in order for you to exist. And if they're out of balance for any length of time, you will potentially develop an illness. If you restore the balance that caused the illness, you can reverse that illness. Some of them cannot be reversed if they're a genetic condition, but you can still adjust your mental state and your physical environment to support your DNA better. And that's what today's video is about. So we have still 2 people. We have another person who said they were going to come, but I don't know where they are. So we're just going to continue without them. So suffering years and years and years of pain, trying to find a way out. The only thing that helped me was illegal. So I can't even talk about it on here, which is really sad. So if you want to know the fine details of what I'm about to talk about, then you have to go to the course, because I can't say it here. I would like to be able to teach you here, but I can't. There are plants that are extremely beneficial for a lot of conditions that people suffer with that you're not allowed to know about or take. I can't really say much more than that, really. I can talk about some of the functional mushrooms. There's a lot of research going into mushrooms at the moment. Turkey tail mushrooms, lion's mane mushrooms, reishi, cordyceps, chaga. We've got a whole load of functional mushrooms that are being widely advertised right now as being immensely beneficial for your health. I take a blend that I make myself. It includes lion's mane, cordyceps, reishi and chaga, and I also mix in plant roots, ashwagandha and maca. And it gives me a little bit of a boost for my system. It boosts immunity, it boosts your nervous system rebuilding, your neuroplasticity, and helps grow new neurons. It helps in various other things. I talk about it more in the course so you can get more details about it. But there's lots of plants that can help people with a huge variety of diseases that the medical monopoly can't cure. And just because they can't cure something doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to improve your condition. Cancer is one of the most brutal diseases that we have. And watching someone die from cancer is not a pleasant experience. And if you've been there, you know that. If you've had cancer and survived it, you know how scary it can be when you get that news that you've got the sea monster. What do you do next? What do you do? You go to the doctor, and what are they going to give you? They're going to give you some kind of poison, chemotherapy to try and kill the cancer, or they're going to blast you with some radiation to try and kill it, or they're going to cut it out of you. There's three main ways that cancer is dealt with. Though they don't do anything to address why you have cancer in the first place. Why do you have it? Where did it come from? Did it come from genetics? Did it come from environment? Did it come from the mental side of things? Because if you're extremely stressed and you're putting all that negative emotion into your body, your biochemistry changes. And if it shifts too far in one direction, then the cells can become dysfunctional. And if the cells become dysfunctional in a great enough number, they can start to reproduce uncontrollably. And then you end up with cancer. But there's things that you can do to try and reduce the risk of that happening. So today, the main topic of discussion is nutrition. Because there's a massive problem in the world right now that the vast majority of what is sold in shops everywhere is not actually food anymore. It may have come from originally from a food, but by the time it reaches your mouth, it's no longer food anymore. It's flavored energy. It doesn't have any nutrition in it whatsoever. It's just pure energy. It doesn't give you anything to rebuild your body. It just keeps you alive for a few more minutes, but you don't have the building blocks to repair your cells. Because depending on the size of your body, you could be anywhere from 30 trillion to 70 trillion cells. There's a lot of cells that need to be fed, and if they don't get what they need, then they will become dysfunctional. If they don't get what they need for an extended period of time, they will die. And every day you're losing millions and millions of cells. So you need to replace those cells with new ones. But if you don't have the raw material to make a new cell, then you can't regenerate. And the longer you stay in the state where you haven't got enough cells to regenerate, the diseases that you have no way of being repaired. And if you're going to be eating the amount of processed food that people eat, it means that their cells are starved of the basic building blocks. You're like a Lego set. You have roughly 90 essential Lego parts that is needed to make a human. And the way food is processed, it removes a significant amount of those molecules and only leaves behind a small number of the nutrition molecules, and the rest is just energy. We've got processed oils and we've got processed sugars, which are not structurally useful in your body. They're just for burning. So when you're starving your body of its nutrients, then disease is more easy to take hold of your body. So you need to eat cells, complete whole cells. If you're not vegan, then try to eat just fish if you can. If you can't be completely vegan, then it's up to you. But make sure what you're eating isn't the processed garbage meat. It's real, complete muscles, actual cells, rather than the processed junk that they sell in the supermarkets quite often. Because it's already quite well known that meat is a carcinogen, and I want to end cancer, not promote it. So I don't suggest anyone to ever eat it. But it's not my business what you eat. At the end of the day, I can only give you the truth about biochemistry. What you do with that truth is completely up to you. So, let's talk a little bit about cell biology, because cells are amazing. Cells are such an incredible little ecosystem. You've got this little bag, and inside that bag billions and billions and billions of chemical reactions happening every second. And your life depends on those reactions working. And all life forms on Earth that we know of follow the BPM system. They must get the correct biochemical ingredients that their cell type needs in order to reproduce. They must have the correct physical environment to provide those needs and also to support the organism in its life cycle, however long that cycle is and where that cycle is. It needs an environment to exist in. And it has the electromagnetic field that it lives in. The light from the sun provides all of the energy for all life forms. So without that, no life exists, as far as we know. Apart from underneath in the volcanic depths of the oceans, we have life that works on heat from the thermal vents. But most life that we know of needs light and an environment and the biochemistry to make it possible. So all animals eat the same thing. They all eat complete cells raw. Every animal on Earth except humans. Humans have developed over the years, we've developed tools and ways of processing food that takes it from being food to no longer being food. It's now a product. It's a mix of powders and potions that are stuck together with various types of things like emulsifiers, and it basically builds these powders and liquids into structured shapes like bread, for example, or cake. Cake is just a mix of powders and liquids that becomes a solid in the shape of a cake when it's absolutely delicious. And I love cake. I would eat cake every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if it wasn't poison. Having an occasional cake, okay, but having cake every day, I do not recommend. But I love cake. Cake is the best food ever. Unfortunately, I'm not able to eat it. So, why do you need to eat cells rather than this processed junk? You see, well, in a cell, you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of different molecules, different types of chemical. You've got proteins, you've got DNA, you've got fatty, they're called phospholipids. It's the fatty membrane that holds the cell together in it. The little bubbles are made of this stuff called phospholipids. And the phospholipid bag that your cells exist in, they have a surface layer. There's little receptors on there, about 100,000 receptors on the bag's outer surface. And then when molecules hit the outside surface, they activate channels that absorb that molecule or not. Depending on what the cell wants, it has little selectors. It's like, okay, I want this one, I don't want this one, and it will sort out what nutrients it wants to get into the cell and what it doesn't want. And the other ones go out through the trash, and they go into the lymph system, and that get cleaned out of your body. But we need to make this area around the cell have all of the ingredients that cell needs to live. Because if it doesn't, it's going to eventually run out of a material and won't be able to do that function anymore. And that cell will then become dysfunctional. And if that cell then stays dysfunctional long enough and then multiplies, it could become a cancerous tumor. It could become some other problem. But you want to try and slow down the rate of change from a normal functioning cell to a dysfunctional cell. So the way you do that is by giving it what it needs to live. And how do you do that? All animals on Earth, they just go out into nature. They find a fruit or some leaves or some nuts and seeds or whatever, roots, and the animal eats that. Their digestive system breaks it down into individual cells and then breaks those cells apart, and then their digestive system will rebuild the cell into their own shape. So you eat a cell, break it open, recycle the parts, and then use it to rebuild a cell. But if you're not eating any cells, you can't do that. Because what you're eating doesn't have the components to rebuild a cell. So if you're eating a chocolate bar, there's very few cells left in a chocolate bar. So all of that you're eating is just pure energy that tastes really, really nice, but there's nothing there to rebuild your body from. So that if that energy doesn't go into the cells and get burned immediately, then it will be stored as fat for later, for when the famine comes. Because there's always, in the last few million years, there's been cycles of famine and harvest. And the human body has adapted many systems to be able to stay alive during these times of famine. But we're not in that world now. We have endless amounts of food, but we still have that craving to say, I'm going to eat more of this because I need to stock up for the famine. It's built into our survival mechanism, and we have to try to override that mechanism, because otherwise we eat ourselves to death. I was eating 5 chocolate bars every day on the way to school, and then I'd drink 2 liters of cola on the way to school. And then I'd go out for dinner, I'd have a soup and 2 spotted dip with custards, or 2 treacle sponges and custards. If there was a big box of sweets, I'd eat the whole thing. I just wouldn't stop. I was completely addicted to sugar. And it ended up with me looking like this and being super depressed and not wanting to be here and being bullied and beaten every day. So that wasn't a good place to be. My body was so starved of cells because everything I ate was just processed rubbish that I couldn't heal. The injury stayed permanently for 25 years. I masked it with other things. I drank a lot of alcohol. I did other substances I'm not allowed to mention on here to cope with life, because my body didn't work, and these things made it easier to live. But the pain wasn't gone. It was just hiding a little bit, but it was still there. It was still there every single day. It didn't matter what I did. It was still there. Until finally I found a way to get rid of it, and that was by doing the full BPM lifestyle system, not just one thing. But the biggest thing that changed my life was going vegan, going on a whole food, plant-based diet. Not just vegan. Vegan is not healthy. Going on a whole food, plant-based diet is what changed my life completely. I went from, at the time I started the diet, I was 93 kilos. And then I was 73 kilos within about 3 or 4 months. I had never seen so much energy. I'd never been able to run or play sports or do anything physical for any length of time for more than a few minutes before I was exhausted and in pain. And then I ran 10 kilometers in less than an hour, which to me felt like a miracle. But how was this possible? It was because my body actually finally had the fuel it needed to repair the damage I was doing to it over the last 25 years. Well, the last 35 years. I was 34 and a bit when I started doing this. And it was such a shock that the pain was gone for the first time. If you imagine you've been in pain every day for 25 years, and then all of a sudden there's no pain anymore, and you think oh, maybe it will be back tomorrow. But it didn't come back. I've been pain-free for 12 years now. Apart from accidents, fall down the stairs, it hurts still, but not the daily pain that's there all the time. That was gone. And the only thing that really changed massively over that period was my diet. Because I tried everything else. I tried all of the other types of diets. I tried all the other therapies that are in the BPM lifestyle that help, but it wasn't until I changed my diet that my cells could actually fix themselves properly without being poisoned at the same time. And I'm not going to go into massive detail about nutrition in this video because it's all in the course. And I haven't got hundreds of hours here. I'm sure you don't want to stay for the entire night. So, but plant-based eating, why does it help? Well, you're made of cells. If you eat a whole cell, you feed yourself with the components that you need. But the fiber that is surrounding the cells when you eat a plant also feeds the gut microbiome inside you, which makes a whole load of nutrients that are not in the food that you need, that are then absorbed through your intestines. So when the fiber gets down into your guts, your bacteria go and eat it, and they change it into other compounds that you need. And some of those are your neurotransmitters, your serotonin and your dopamine. And these really important neurochemicals for your mental health are made in your gut. And if you don't put the right ingredients in there for your bacteria to make them, you don't have enough. And if you don't have enough dopamine in your system, then you're diagnosed as ADHD quite often. But do you really have ADHD in terms of the genetic components that are responsible, like mutations in your dopamine receptors? Or is it influenced by what's going in your mouth? But if you control what goes into your mouth and give your body what it actually needs, then you have less chance of being deficient in the nutrients needed for your mental functions to work properly. So if you're eating whole cells, whole plant cells, you give yourself everything that you need. If you're also, I don't have 100% clean diet and I'm not raw vegan or anything like that. I have occasional cake, I have occasional chocolate, I have occasional pizzas and other things that I enjoy. But I try to do that occasionally, not every meal. And it's hard sometimes, especially when you're out and you're somewhere where there isn't a huge range of healthy food. And it's hard to make that good decision to say, okay, no, I'm not going to eat this rubbish food. And I have no willpower when it comes to cakes and donuts and all that kind of stuff. I'm an absolute sugar addict. And I try really hard to restrain myself from indulging in those things because I know it's bad for me. I know how shit I feel after doing it. And now that I've had some years of not being in pain every day, to do something I know that brings that pain back again is counterintuitive to my quality of life. I want to live a happy, healthy quality of life where I'm not in pain. And when I do things that lead to more pain, that to me is a silly thing to do, and I need to try and control that behavior. But if you don't notice the behavior, you can't change it. You have to become aware of your own behaviors and say, this behavior is not in my best interests, and I need to try to figure out how to stop it. You need to swap it for some other stimulation, especially when it comes to food. Because the problem is food stimulates all of your senses. It stimulates your nose, your tongue, your eyes looking at it. You hear it when it's cooking. You taste it, and you have the texture in your mouth. And then when you swallow it, it stimulates all the insides of your nervous system, triggering your brain to go, "Wow, this was amazing. Eat that again." And you're like, "I'm full though. Eat it again." And that little voice in your head keeps you eating and eating more than you should. But the dopamine is so powerful that the dopamine is what makes you eat it. That's what makes you reach for the next sweet. Then you put it in your mouth and you swallow it, and that pleasure signal says to your brain, that action of picking up that thing and putting it in my mouth and chewing it and swallowing it was really, really nice. I want to do that again. And you reach for the thing again. And this applies for all the substances that we use to enhance our feelings of pleasure that are not necessarily best for our biochemistry. One of the first lectures I had at Imperial College in medicinal biology was about the metabolism of alcohol, because obviously it's a freshers week and you got a room full of students. There's like 100 students in the room, and they're giving a lecture about the dangers of alcohol and what it does to your enzymes in the liver. And it's if you've been out at the weekend for Freshers Week, then you've probably still got this reaction happening inside you right now. And I was talking about an enzyme called cytochrome P450, which is a really important enzyme. That is there to it basically finds impurities in your body, metabolites of reactions that it needs to get rid of. So it's constantly working to find these molecules and break them down. But when you drink alcohol, it's fully involved in getting rid of the alcohol. So it can't get rid of the other components that are in your blood. So it means that those impurities stay in you a little bit longer. So you first you have to get rid of the alcohol, and then these enzymes can go back to doing their normal job of cleaning out all the other bits of molecules that you don't need anymore. But if you're constantly giving it more work, it can't do its job properly, and eventually it leads to problems. And so for that reason, I try to limit what I drink. I do have the occasional cider now, but I don't do it very often. Compared to drinking the bottles of vodka constantly, I'd drink a bottle of vodka every week when I was a teenager. When I was 14, 15, 16, easily a bottle of vodka every weekend. No problemo. I knew it was damaging me. It was hurting me a lot, and that made the pain worse. But for the time I was drunk, I didn't feel the pain anymore. It masked it enough that I could kind of try and have a normal-ish life, but inside in my head and where the pain was, it didn't help. It made it more painful. But it made life easier to cope with, so I still did it. But it wasn't until I went to Imperial College that I found alternatives that are far less dangerous, and you're not allowed to have them. But they helped me a lot. They helped me with my mental health. They helped me with my physical health. They helped me with my addiction. They helped me with everything. And they're not allowed. You're not allowed to have them. If it helps you, it's illegal. That should make everyone angry. That if it helps someone change their life, the government ban it. This is an absolute breach of human rights. How dare they? If the doctors can't help you, they have no right to tell you what plants you can use to try and live a better life. Maybe I can't be cured ever, and that's fine. I accept that fate. You know, the condition I have is genetic. It cannot be cured. I have to be careful that I don't get injured. If I get injured, I'm in serious trouble, potentially. So I try to not do things that I know will hurt me, physically, mentally, or biochemically. Because I want to live a long, happy life. Because if I'm dead, I can't help anyone and I can't play with my dog. And that would be really sad for Mikey. If I leave him, no one's going to look after him. He's a big, scary pit bull. So I need to stay alive at least long enough to look after my baby. And we all have our babies in some form or another, whether they're fur babies or scaly babies or human babies. We all have people in our lives that we care about, that depend on us. And if we're sick, we can't take care of them. So I need to try and maintain my health and fitness so that I'm able to take care of myself and my furry family and my scaly family. I can't take care physically of my real family because they're 1,000 miles away, but I can take care of them in remote ways through the internet. But we all have people that we care about and that care about us. So the more we take care of our body, the more we can take care of them and live a nice, happy life. I just want to live a peaceful life where I'm able to do what I want when I want to do it without some twat in an office thousands of miles away screwing with my quality of life for no reason other than their greed. That's fucking stupid. Why does that happen? Well, we've just set that up as the way the world works, which is madness. So you've got these billionaires controlling the food system who know everything about chemistry. They know everything about biochemistry. They know how to control your mind with chemistry. So they put it in the food to make the food as tasty as they possibly can so you can't resist it. Because they know how powerful the dopamine urge is. And all the advertising is designed to trigger that dopamine. When you see the big flashy colored billboards, for soft drinks, for junk food or whatever, all these adverts, they do that because even though they know that McDonald's exists, Coca-Cola exists, by flashing that symbol at you through their branding, they trigger that dopamine of, I want to go and get one now. And they use this programming through sensory exposure in the environment to control your desires. So they want you to buy more. They want you to buy again and 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 again until you die, because they want you as a lifetime customer. But when the products they sell are so toxic to your body and you get stuck in this pattern of wanting to consume it again and again and again, it gradually shifts you further and further away from biochemical balance. And the more you shift away from biochemical balance, the closer you get to a chronic disease. And I don't want to see anyone suffering with a chronic disease. We can't prevent all of them. That's just the way it is. But there's a lot we can do. There's a lot we can change about what we do to ourselves and the people around us to try and live in a little bit more balance with what our actual biochemical needs are, rather than just servicing what our desires are. Because we have needs and we have desires. I need to eat cells in order to repair my cells. I want to eat cake and chocolate all day. Well, if I do eat the cake and chocolate all day, there's nothing there to repair my body, so I'll eventually get sick. So constantly choosing the pleasure option that is the best option. It tastes so good. But if I constantly take that option instead of the whole fruits and vegetables option, my life will be shorter and more miserable. So I have to weigh up whether I want short-term pleasure from the cake or a long-term life of being happy and healthy where I'm able to function without needing support, because I live alone in the middle of nowhere. I don't have anyone that can help me that's, nearby. I mean, the closest people I know are, at least 20, 30 minutes away. I need to look after myself, because it's even if I get sick, even for an ambulance to get to me is going to take a while. The nearest hospital is a 30-kilometer drive. So I don't want to be in a way where I'm trying to push my body to the limits of what it can cope with. So I try to take care of my needs, and by doing the BPM lifestyle and trying to keep that balance between the biochemistry, the environment, and my thoughts, control my brain to not let it go overdrive into anxiety and depression, then by maintaining this balance, I can hopefully live a long, happy life here. But who knows? One day I might get smacked by a car and it'll be all over again. But I'm going to try not to let that happen. So when you give your body what it needs, it has a better chance of repairing damage than if you don't meet your needs. And that's all this is. I'm not trying to tell anyone what they need to eat. I'm just telling you what you need, and you make the choice whether you meet the need or not. It's up to you. You're an adult. You have absolute control over what you do. What you put in your mouth is up to you. If you want to put things in your mouth that are bad for you, that's your choice, and you have to accept the consequences of those choices. Everything you put in your mouth is either nourishing you or not. It's either what you need to rebuild. There's 90 essential nutrients that you need. If that food contains something that isn't one of those essential nutrients, then your body has to process it in some way. It's going to come out either through one or the other ways. It'll either be breathed out, or it will be sweated out, or it will be spat out, or it will be come out in urine or poo, or if you cut yourself, in blood. Some way these molecules will come out of your body eventually. But if you keep putting more in every single day that aren't supposed to be there, then it's going to have to work again and again and again to keep getting these things out of you. And we're living in such a poisoned world now where all the food available in the shops is just, most of it's rubbish. It's not even real food anymore. And we have a chronic illness epidemic. There's 2 billion people with a chronic illness. 2 billion. That's insane. That's just... And 40 million die every year. Of the 67 million people that die every year, 40 million of them die from chronic illness caused by food. That's shocking. Or either die from chronic illness caused by food, or they caused by not having access to food. 25,000 people die every day because they starve to death. In a world where we throw away 2 billion meals in the bin every day. 2 billion meals a day in the bin, 25,000 people dead. Every day. What insanity is that? How is that the way we live in this world? How is anyone not saying anything about it or doing anything about it? It's crazy. 10,000 children dying every day because they don't have a bag of rice. What are we doing? And 60% of that total so approximately 600 million meals a day are thrown away by households, not by industry, but by actual households just throwing it in the bin. The amount of waste is absolutely shocking. And people are dying because of it. And that's really sad. And there's things we can do. We can stop buying this absolute junk from these mega corporations. We can just say tomorrow, I'm not going to buy it anymore. Yes, it's convenient. Yes, it's nice and easy. And yes, it's there all the time. And when you can't be bothered to cook, it's just, or you got screaming kids or whatever, it's just easier. Just go get this fast food. It's so much easier. It's always there. It's relatively cheap in the short term. In the long term, it's devastating to people's health. So that you have to weigh up the pros and cons of whether you're going to spend money on healthy food or whether you're going to spend money on your medical treatment later down the line when the food catches up with you. But the thing is, there's a delay between the eating of the food and the generation of disease. It can be years, it could be decades before heart disease even shows up. But it starts in the teenage years. It's already building up in most people from when they're children. But because there's no symptoms, nobody realizes it until they have their first heart attack or their first stroke in their 30s or 40s sometimes. And then they're like, oh shit, now I need to change. But by then it's too late. It's too late to change after your first heart attack because maybe you've lost part of your heart. If you change now, today, and look after your body a little bit better than you do now, it's, as I say, it's up to you how you live. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm not your mother. I'm not your father. I'm just a human trying to help other humans live a little bit better so that you can live more time with the people you love. Don't you want as much time as possible with the people you love? With your family, your pets, your friends, your children. You want as much energy as you can to play and do all the things that you love to do. Don't you want to live in a world where children don't starve to death every day? I don't want to live in that world. We've got a world of billionaires with hundreds of billions of dollars, and yet we have 25,000 people starve. That's just obscene. It doesn't have to be that way. And I will not give up now with this message until people start to wake up to what they're doing and stop blaming other people for their problems, take their lives responsibly and do the best they can to live the best amazing life. I want to live the most amazing life possible. I want to have everything that I want. I want to be everything I want to be. I want to go everywhere I want to go without having to think, oh, I can't do that because I'm sick. That's sad to be in that position of being restricted from living your dreams because you've developed an illness. It's bad enough when you're born with an illness that you have to deal with, but when you're not born with one, when you develop one over time, it doesn't develop from nothing. It develops from chronically being out of alignment of the BPM system. And if you want to reduce your risk of getting future disease, you need to align that system. And that's hard. I mean, this is not a quick fix. If you're looking for the next pill to take to fix all your problems, then this is not it. This is a full rebuild of your lifestyle to do what you need to do to maintain your body. If you have a really expensive car, are you going to look after it? Are you going to maintain it? Are you going to take it for servicing and you're going to give it new wheels and new oil and all the things it needs? Give it the right kind of fuel, make sure it's nice and clean so you've got good engine quality. You're going to take care of it because it was an expensive toy. You're a far more valuable toy than a car. You are you are a human being. You are so rare in the universe. There's only one of you. Cars can be mass produced. There's only one of you. If something goes wrong with you, that's it. It's over. Game over for you. It's game over for the people around you. I don't want that to be the case for people that I know and love. I want everyone to be able to be happy and healthy to the best of their ability with the body they have. Even if you have a disability, you can still live a better life. You can still do the things that you're passionate about. If you can spread that joy to other people just by being yourself and being amazing, Like just think of the ripple effect that can have around the world when 100,000 people are not dying every day from preventable causes. 100,000 families that don't lose their mother or their child. 100,000 a day. 700,000 every week. This is insane. And we just accept it. This is just normal. It's just the way it is. We've always been this way. It's how we've always lived. We've been doing this for millions of years. Yeah. And look where it's got us. A planet full of people who hate each other and are killing each other with their own behavior. It's sad that we've got that far. I want to live in a different world. That's why I built Bohemian Wonderland, because it's my sanctuary. I live in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by trees and forests as far as I can see. And there's no evil people here. When I was in London, it was just full of evil people everywhere. And I'm glad I left at the end of the day. It was a breath of fresh air to leave London. The way I ended up leaving, being homeless, wasn't my ideal choice, but at the end of the day, didn't have much option. So I got in the car, drove to Spain, and started a new life. Again, the second time. But sometimes we need to start over because we need to have a kick in the head to kind of wake us up to the things that we were doing to ourselves that maybe not have been supportive of our life. You know, I was doing a lot of things that were not healthy for me. I'd work 48-hour shifts because I'd get an order from Nintendo that wanted it done right now, and I don't have a choice but to work 48 hours. This is crazy. No wonder I ended up burnt out, crashing my car and busting my neck and losing my business because I was working myself to death. And it was a way of the universe kind of kicking me up the arse to say, you've got to change. This isn't going to work. You can't just work yourself to death like this. You can't just eat rubbish and just do all these other things that are really bad for you and get away with it and not have damage. And I was always in pain every day. So that kick in the backside, going to another country on my own, changed everything. And it made me take a look at my life and rebuild it from the baseline up, the atoms and the electrons that I'm made of. And when I started to rebuild from that level, things started to work again. I started to feel better. My body was functioning. I was optimizing my biochemistry to work better, and the pain was gone, and I was feeling amazing. And then I moved to the Czech Republic and I built this amazing house. None of that would have happened if I was still in the situation I was when I left England and didn't actually try to change anything. But I tried to change things because I didn't want to stay like that. Staying in pain is horrible. One day I'm just sitting on the floor and I'm stuck. I can't get up. My whole back and my leg just stopped working. And I had to call a massage therapist to come and pick me up off the fucking floor because my body just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It just keeps randomly stopping. Like one day my leg will be fine. The next minute it won't work. Or my back will completely seize up. Or my arm or whatever. Some other part of my body will stop working temporarily. And I was like that my whole life. And no one could tell me why, and no one could help me. And it wasn't until I really focused on my health and did the BPM lifestyle that things started to get better. But it takes a long time. It takes months to undo damage. If you've been doing a certain behavior for a long period of time, to change it is very difficult. It's built into your nervous system. Those patterns are so deep that it's hard to stop them. And if you do stop them, then you get these horrible negative effects. It makes it feel worse at the beginning. When you first start making changes, sometimes you feel worse. And a lot of people think, oh, this is not good. I feel worse. I'm not going to continue. But sometimes there's a process that your body's going through, cleaning out all the toxins. For example, a friend of mine he's currently trying to come off alcohol after 4 years of of drinking, and he's having serious withdrawal issues right now, but he's getting through it. He's getting through it day by day, and I'm really proud of his efforts so far. He's made it to 30 days. It's amazing. He's going shopping again. He's going out in the world. He's starting to feel better about himself, and it just takes a bit of time. But getting through that period can be hard, especially when it's something that's been a part of your life for a long time. Like, I didn't want to give up milk, but I have to make a choice. Do I want to be healthy, or do I want to put something in my body that I know hurts me? And I had to stop, and that was really, really difficult because I love cheese and I love milk in my tea. And to stop that, it was the hardest part of going to a whole food plant-based diet, was to get rid of the dairy, because dairy it has addictive compounds in it called casomorphins, which slightly activate your opiate receptors. So it's really hard to stop, especially with cheese, because it's concentrated. So these biochemical triggers that are in the cheese, they make you want to eat it more. And it's also with the high salt that's in there, it also triggers you to really want to eat more of it. And to stop that was really, really hard. But I did it eventually. It was over a period of a few months. I didn't go cold turkey and quit everything in one day. I slowly transitioned, and I slowly started to improve my well-being, my energy levels. My mind started to feel better. I wasn't quite so depressed and anxious all the time. I wasn't in that doom cycle of, oh shit, I'm homeless, I'm fucked. Like, I need to do something. And I started to feel a bit better. And it took a long time to fully heal, but I got there eventually. And now, looking back, I would never go back to the old life I had, knowing how much better I feel now from just a few simple things that cost nothing. If it was an expensive procedure or expensive pill or expensive piece of technology that made me feel this good, then it'd be worth buying it. But this was free. Just by changing my environment, my mental state, and my biochemistry, I managed to feel better for the first time in 25 years. And if I can do it, why can't anybody else try? Why can't someone else try and do it? See what it happens. That's all I'm asking the world to do, just try. See what you can do. See what you're capable of. See what your body can actually do. You know, a lot of us have issues we're born with. We can't fix them. But just because you can't completely fix something doesn't mean you can't improve it a little bit. Even 10% improvement is better than nothing. I mean, I'd never dreamed I'd have pain-free days. So after the doctor said, we can't do anything, you're going to be like this forever. To actually live a day without pain was a miracle to me. But it didn't happen until I changed what went in my mouth. So I'm not here to promote vegan propaganda or whatever. I'm just saying, biologically, the human body needs to eat whole plant cells. If you're going to eat meat, at least eat whole meat cells. Don't eat processed stuff. And if it comes in a packet, that's mostly made of ingredients, not whole foods, then have it occasionally. You don't have to be completely plant-based, but you do need to eat some. At least some cells. I try to say at least have 80% of your calories coming from actual cells, and then 20% as treats. You're going to have the if you like cake and chocolate and sugar and donuts and things like that, have some, but keep it as a portion of your main calorie allowance, and stick to how many calories you need, because we all have different amounts of calories, energy we need. I have roughly 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. Some people might be more active than I am, and they might need to eat 3,000 calories or 3,500, maybe even more. But you might be less active than me, and you might only need 2,000 or 1,800 calories. But you need to calculate what your needs are and eat that amount of food. If you're going to eat more than that, more than you need, you're going to gain weight. If you're going to eat less than what you need, you're going to lose weight. This is a law of the universe. I didn't make the law. It just exists. So you can pretend the law doesn't exist and blame other things, or you can try to restore your biochemical balance through doing the practices and the BPM lifestyle to make your energy needs either increase enough to lose some weight or to consume more complete cells and less processed food to give you more chance of repairing cells. But at the end of the day, I can't do it for you. I can teach you science all day, but it doesn't make any difference if you don't implement it into your life. And this is simply me trying to share my experience of life and my knowledge from decades of studying science to fix my own problems, to help other people fix theirs too. And maybe if we all tried this, if everybody could start doing the BPM lifestyle, I think that we have the power to save 100,000 lives a day. From the calculations that I do, I'm a mathematician. I sit and make stupid calculations all the time just for fun. And this one was quite shocking, that 100,000 people die every day from human behavior, not from natural disasters or bacterial infections or things without control. We don't have control over nature. We don't have control over the bugs and whatever we catch. But we do have control over what food we put in our mouth, and we do have control of how we move our body. So by controlling those two things that we can control, we have a much better chance of living a happy, healthy life. So that's all the BPM lifestyle is about how to adjust your behavior to support your needs. Because you have biological needs, you have mental needs, and you have environmental needs. We need to be in a warm house. After 4 years living here with no electricity, I know the pleasure it is to have a warm house. We like to have creature comforts, we like to have entertainment, we like to have all these things. But if you're dead, none of these things matter anyway. So if you don't take care of your actual body, then your environment is irrelevant. Because if you're sick, your environment is, you can't enjoy your environment. So you want to try to maintain your health as long as you can, so that you can enjoy as many days as possible before eventually you leave. But when you focus more on short-term pleasure for the things that are easy and available and fun and dangerous for your biochemistry, and when you always pick that option rather than the healthier option, then it pushes the balance in the wrong direction. And that's okay temporarily, but when it's a long-term thing over a long period of time, it makes it harder to return to baseline. And if you don't return to baseline at some point, then eventually it's going to get worse. And it's sad to watch. It's sad to watch people suffering with things in any way. You know, if I try not to watch the news and stuff because it's all doom and gloom all the time. But it doesn't have to be so bad. We can change the way we behave. We can do it. It's hard to change habits, especially when they've been ingrained for many, many years. But it is possible. It is possible through supporting your biochemistry in a few better ways than you do now. Just make one little change, even if it's just one small change that you do now. And then next week, you do another little small change. Maybe it's only 5 minutes a day of something that's doing to take care of your health, whether that's playing music, or whether it's doing some kind of movement in gym, or whether it's going for a walk in nature. Having a dog is amazing because it forces you to get out and move, because your dog needs to move. They need to also follow the BPM lifestyle. It applies to all living things. So if you don't give your dog what it needs, the dog will get sick. If you don't give yourself what you need, you'll get sick. So if you want a happy, healthy life, you need to meet your needs, and you have to meet your furry or scaly friend's needs. I have a chameleon who needs specific things to live. So if I don't give him what he needs, he will die. And you're the same. You need certain things. You must walk barefoot outside every day to get the electrons for your body to function, especially if you're in any kind of way adding to the damage by eating meat or by having other things in your body that are not supportive. Then you need to get the free radicals out of your body, and you do that by connecting with nature. Touch a tree or walk barefoot somewhere, and then by breath work you can control your neurochemical state. You can become aroused or you can become relaxed. You have control over that with your breathing. By controlling what goes in your mouth, you can control your hormones, you can control your energy levels, you can control your cell metabolism. Everything works better when it has the right amount of chemicals that it needs and that they are contained in the cells. And if you're eating things that are not cells, you're going to push your energy balance off its baseline. It's going to go in further into fat storage because there is no nutrition in these sugary fatty foods. So ice cream is virtually zero cells in ice cream. It's just pure pleasure. It's not for any rebuilding. And have that occasionally, okay, no problemo. Every now and again, a little bit of a treat here and there is okay, but it depends on your willpower to stop. If you have the trigger that once you start you can't stop and you keep going, then you maybe need to be more strict about how much you treat. If it's, for me, my way of maintaining this is I go shopping maybe once a month. While I'm shopping, I might have one or two snacky treats, but I won't buy the whole shelf and bring it back and store it, because I know if I do that, we seem to be having caching issues. Can you still see me? Can you still see me? It says it has a caching issue on here on YouTube. I don't know if my internet is screwed. Anyway. Okay, so looks like we might have an issue with the internet. Okay, yeah, I'm going to continue anyway, even if the internet breaks. Please don't break. I should record this. It's lagging, yeah. I don't know why. Okay, well maybe I've worn out my internet for today. So let's leave it there for today. Eat more cells, eat less energy, and you will improve the quality of your health. That is so simple that anybody can do it. I don't care what your excuses are. You can eat more whole cells. I'm not saying just stop eating whatever you want. I'm just eating more whole cells. Even if it's only 10% more whole cells than you eat now, it's still better than nothing. If you can eat 100% whole cells, then that's amazing. But most people are going to be somewhere in the middle. So that's enough for today. If you're going to come back tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit more about the body and how to move and maintain mobility into your old age the best you can with the body you have. And that depends on your current state of fitness and how easy it is for you to change that. But all change is possible if you apply the BPM lifestyle principles. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for staying today. It's been fun to talk with everybody. I had 4 people coming. Yay. So it looks like the internet has now restored, I think. But that's all for today. I hope it recorded. And I will be back tomorrow, same time, 8 o'clock, for part 3. And that will be the last of this BPM Lifestyle Summit for now. So come back tomorrow and we'll talk about movement and mobility and find ways to improve the quality of your life for free. See you tomorrow.